Let's review how to restart your system in Peacemaker or Lantec code. One of the most common points where the machine may stop and fault out during a program is during the M15 torch ignition. This often occurs when the hypertherm system fails to fire due to issues such as worn consumables, a drop in air pressure, the torch gap is set incorrectly, or another malfunction preventing it from confirming ignition. In these cases, it's important to restart the program at the point of torch ignition, but you should never start directly on an M code. Instead, locate the G90 absolute mode move that occurs immediately before the M code and restart from there. In Peacemaker code, you may need to look several lines back to find a G90 move. With third-party software like Lantec, the G90 move, such as the Z-axis positioning at pierce height, usually appears just before torch ignition. Once the fault is resolved, whether by inspecting the torch, replacing a cartridge, resetting the hypertherm, or correcting air pressure, you can confirm the appropriate restart point. If the program faulted on line 188 after an attempt to pierce, open the code in the editor, F6 Edit, and scroll to line 188. Look just above for a G90 move, for example at line 185, and choose to restart there. After fixing the fault, go to F4 Run, F2 Search, enter line 185, and press Enter. If the torch isn't fully retracted, it may do so automatically before prompting for another cycle start. Otherwise, it should continue the program from that point. When attempting to restart in the middle of a program such as this, be sure to keep your hand on the override knob, reduce your speed when starting, and be prepared to turn the knob all the way down to stop machine motion in case the machine does not move as expected. Once the torch is lit as expected, then you may turn the knob back to proper feed rate and continue processing. In another example, the program faulted at the end of a circular feature, around line 291. Open the editor, find line 291, and look just before it for a G90 absolute move. In this case, line 290. That's your restart point. Use F4 Run, F2 Search, enter line 290, and restart the program. The torch may retract first and prompt for a cycle start, or it may continue automatically. For open profiles using M14 to fire the torch and edge start, the code does not wait for confirmation from hypertherm that the torch actually made arc. Instead, it proceeds to move into the part assuming that ignition occurred. If the torch doesn't make arc due to a cartridge issue, improper torch height, or poor material contact, hypertherm will issue a torch arc not established fault after we have moved into the material. After resolving the fault, you'll want to restart at the beginning of the cut. Again, never start on an M code. Look for the absolute G90 move immediately before the M14, say line 54, and restart from there. If that doesn't make sense for the motion path, start at another X, Y, or Z positioning line. In cases where the arc is lost after ignition, meaning the torch did start but the arc was interrupted mid-cut, the process is more difficult. You can't ignite mid-path. The torch must restart at the beginning of the cut path. This may be problematic because the material is already partially removed, and this often prevents the arc from re-establishing, so it may arc out again for lack of material. Try it at least once because it may work. If it does not successfully restart, you may need to temporarily switch the hypertherm to expanded metal mode, which maintains the pilot arc without arc transfer. After switching to expanded metal mode, return to the absolute positioning move just before the M14 command, for example, line 54, and restart from there. Once the torch is successfully burning into fresh material, you can switch hypertherm back to continuous burn mode, where it should remain for normal operation. It's not advisable to leave it in expanded metal mode for long periods, as it can cause excessive wear on consumables. Once the torch is cutting naturally again, allow the program to continue.